So let me see, I'll share my screen. And I think we stopped somewhere in the middle of Anguttara Nikaya, Book of Fours, the Brahmana Vagga, Sutta Sutang, what is heard. There's a little bit of textual discrepancies in this one, which we'll talk about, and there's also the question of what does mutta mean, because it seems a little counterintuitive or not obvious, perhaps. So I put a little piece here of the Pali English Dictionary in my text. Maybe we'll look at that together very quickly. So if you can see here, the entry for mutta, I guess it's related to mutta, which would be related to the verb manyati, which we all know. Tang king manyata, what do you think? But the question is mutta really what is thought? Because we have vinyata too, which would definitely be thought. So I think the dictionary here is clear, and it tells us that it's often in the set, ditta, sutta, mutta, but it's more likely to be felt. And then here it's sort of elaborated. Ditta equals chakuna dittang. That's what the D abbreviation. So what is seen with the eye is ditta. What is heard with the ear is sutang. What is, and then here, mutang would be of three things. What is smelled by the nose, what is tasted by the tongue, and what is felt by the body. And then also we have the final one, what is thought by the mind would be vijnanam. So that's, I think, what this mutang would be, and we can maybe translate it as sensed. That might be good. So that's this word. Then we have an introduction. We did this, we'll maybe review briefly. We talked about the introduction of the future passive participle. In the book so far, we've already had present participles, past participles, and now we have what are often called future passive participles, sometimes also called the gerundive, which sounds confusing, and it is, but it's good to know because the Pali English Dictionary refers to this as the gerundive, which I think is abbreviated as GER, which is also confusing because they talk about what we have been calling the absolutive, which is also called the gerund, is GRD. And so I'm constantly confused by that in their dictionary entries. But just know that we have to understand that different people have different names for the same thing. And we probably know already that the future passive participle is not only a passive sense in the future, but it has a connotation of what should be done, what can be done. It's actually closely related to the optative. And I think I might have even seen this referred to as the optative participle. So the future passive participle is traditionally or often made with this suffix taba. It is also made, as the book tells us, with the suffix ya. We see that, for instance, in the verb karoti, karaniya, that which should be done. So that's the future passive participle. I'll point out a couple of textual discrepancies, which will come again up here. First of all, and if you have my file, you'll see I put them in two different colors. That in the book, our book, and in the Burmese edition, or the Sixth Council version, that would be the BE, it is, the participle is negated here, abasito. And then the positive and negatives are one way. I find this a little confusing or just kind of hard to wrap my brain around, but it's really the meaning of the two versions come out at the end to be the same. But we should know that in the Sri Lankan edition, which I guess would be the Buddha Jayanti edition, and the English edition, which would be the Pali Text Society edition, it is different. It's reversed. So the participle is not negated and the order is reversed. And this is the translation that Bhikkhu Bodhi chooses in his big book. And so if you were looking at his book and you thought it doesn't seem to line up with my text, this is the reason. And also one small thing, which I think is just simply a typo in our textbook, if you perhaps noticed, that in the Young He section, the first of the four, where the kvasa is explained with a footnote, footnote 3, the cha seems to be in the wrong place, because it really should be as it's presented in the following three instances, young chat kvasa. But you'll see in the first version, it's young kvasa cha, which I think is just a typo. Okay, so that's all our sort of backstory. And would somebody like to quickly translate the beginning of the sutta for us so we just orient ourselves? Which starting with the Nahang Brahmana. Sarah, can you start that for us? We did it last time, but just to review.
Okay. Do you want me to run through the whole thing or just the first sentence or?
Well, why don't you read the first couple little things?
Okay. Nahang Brahmana Savam Ditang Vasitabam Ti Vadami. Na Panahang Brahmana Savam Ditang Na Vasitabam Ti Vadami. Should I just stop? Do that one first?
Do a little more.
Do a little more. Naham Brahmana Savam Sutang Vasitabam Ti Vadami. Na Panaham Brahmana Savam Sutang Na Vasitabam Ti Vadami.
Okay.
Okay, stop there. So we've got going from the beginning with the negation back to the end of the quote, Vadami. I do not say, so it's na Vadami. Ahang is I.
Right.
Vocative for Brahman. O Brahmins. I do not say, O Brahmins. Sabam Ditang, which would be everything seen. And we've got the future passive participle, Vasitabam. I do not say everything seen should be spoken about.
Right.
And then Pana could be like but or also or something along those lines. But I also do not say, na vadami, O Brahmins, that everything seen should not be spoken about. So we've got it negated in the second one. And the next line is, I do not say, O Brahmins, everything heard should be spoken about. But I also do not say, O Brahmins, that everything heard should not be spoken about.
Right.
Okay.
So this is a sutta that I think that the Brahmin Vasakara comes to the Buddha and says, everything should be talked about. Everything should be spoken about. And the Buddha gives a more nuanced answer here. And it's for these various things. And then we're here up to the young he. And we spoke about last time that this young, this relative pronoun here has the sense, a conditional sense, if. And then we have ditang basato. So this is the present participle. It would be genitive dative. So who can... Bonita, would you like to translate this sentence for us? Yang hi Brahmana.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yang hi Brahmana dittam basato akusala dhamma abhivadanti. Kusala dhamma parihayanti. Eva rupam dittam na basitabam ti vadami. Yam cha kwassa Brahmana dittam abhasato kusala dhamma parihayanti. Akusala dhamma abhivadanti. Eva rupam dittam basitabam ti vadami.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it as yam he, I took it as an ablative. I don't know if it's correct.
It's not really a case. It's just really a condition, like if, indeed.
Like that's the emphatic particle, right?
Yes.
I took it as therefore instead of indeed.
Okay.
Because I thought that he and thee, that's like the combination of he and thee.
No, I don't think so. The
Okay.
T is the end of the quote marker, iti.
Oh, okay.
T is short for iti.
Okay.
But the he is just simply an emphatic particle, as you said.
Okay. So I should take it as indeed, right? Then?
I think so.
Yeah. So dittam basitabbo is dittam is seen.
Yes.
I took it as the past participle.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Well, how do you translate? How are you translating the whole thing? Let me hear your translation.
Just tell my translation, then you see.
Okay.
Indeed, Brahmins, if something seen and spoken of increases unwholesome mental states and deteriorates wholesome mental states, I say such a thing should not be spoken of.
Yeah, right. So dittang basito, as I mentioned, I think that this is a basati, the verb, present participle, genitive, dative. So maybe we can translate these two words as literally in a sense of, for one speaking about what one has seen. So if one speaking about what is seen, a kusala dhamma increase and kusala dhamma decrease, therefore I say one should speak about what is seen. So I think you're right.
Yeah. So the other one is the eva rupam. That's the second one, right?
The second one is yang chakvasa bhamana.
Yeah. Yang chakwasa brahmana.
So how do you translate that?
That one I translated it as, on the other hand, Brahmins,
Okay.
if something seen and not spoken of deteriorates wholesome mental states and increases unwholesome mental states, I would say such a thing should be spoken of.
Yeah. I think that's right. So the
eva rupam means like something like this type.
Yeah, such a thing, this thing.
Yeah, that's a neuter, such as, or something like that. It means something like that. Right?
Yeah. So this yang is the if.
Yeah.
And this cha kvasa, we have it explained in our book. It really has that sense of, what do they have? On the other hand, or furthermore.
Yeah,
so,
I took it as on the other hand.
That's right. So if one, and then we have the negated form in the version we're taking from the book. If, on the other hand, as you say, one does not speak about what is seen, kusala dhammas decline and unwholesome dhammas, akusala dhammas, increase. And then, as you said, eva rupang, I say that this thing that is seen should be
not.
spoken about. Right. Okay. Let's see. We could try the next one. Diane, can you take the next one? Sutang.
Okay. Yanghi Brahmana Sutang Basato Akusaladama Abhivadanti Kusaladama Parihayanti Evarupang Sutang Nabasitabanti Vadami. And you would give me this one because I didn't understand the Basitabanti. So,
Well, I should just say that in the Burmese edition, Basi Tabang T is joined together with the moving of the nasal. So it's the same. Basi Tabang T and Basi Tabang T. It's just elided, is made a compound, and so therefore the Nigahita moves to this N. I think that would maybe be the dental nasal. And so I copied and pasted this out of the Burmese edition, and I changed some of them to match our book, but not all of them. But the meaning is identical.
okay. So, if Brahman, for one speaking about the heard thing or something heard, unwholesome qualities increase and wholesome qualities decrease. Eva Rupang, in this, I translated that in this case, or for this kind of thing, the heard thing, sutang, should not be spoken about, I say.
Yeah, the Eva Rupang is going with the Sutang, right? They go together.
Yes.
This heard thing, this thing that has been heard, should not be spoken about, right? Okay, go on.
Yang chakrasa brahmana sutang abasato kusaladama parihayanti akusaladama abhivadanti evarupang sutang basitabanti vadami. So the yamchakrasa, in this case, or it may be that, O Brahman, for one not speaking of that heard thing, wholesome qualities decrease and unwholesome qualities increase. In this case, the heard thing should be spoken about, I say.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I just think that just for abhivadanti, we probably would move the stress backwards a bit because this last A is short. Abhivadanti.
Abhivadanti.
Yeah, okay, good. Tet, can you take the next one? This is Mutang.
Sure. Yam hi brahmana buddham basato akusala dhamma abhivadanti kusala dhamma parihayanti eva rupam muktan nabasita banti vadami yam cha kwasa brahmana muktan abasato kusala dhamma parihayanti akusala dhamma abhivadanti eva rupam muktan basita banti vadami. So yam is when or if. I was thinking more in when, more like when.
Okay.
Muktan, what is heard?
No, it's not heard. This is the one that we spoke about that sort of felt.
Yeah. What is felt? What is sensed? Basato. This is the present participle spoken about. Akusala dhamma, the unwholesome qualities. Abhivadanti, increase. Kusala dhamma, the wholesome qualities. Parihayanti, decrease. Eva rupa mudang, such thing that is sensed or felt. Na pasitapan should not be spoken about. Vadami, I say.
Yes. Can you just give us just one more time, just the full English translation of this sentence?
Sure. When what is felt is spoken about, unwholesome qualities increase, wholesome qualities decrease. Such thing as felt should not be spoken about, I say.
Okay. Or the thing, such a thing felt should not, or this thing that is felt should not be spoken about. Good.
Sure.
Go on, please.
Yancha kwasa to him, when to him what is felt or sensed is not spoken. Wholesome qualities decrease, unwholesome qualities increase. Such thing which is felt should be spoken about, I say.
Okay. This idiomatic thing, Chuck, the kavasa, it seems to me like we don't really need to translate it with that pronoun for him, but rather it has that sort of more general sense as on the other hand, or furthermore, of something like that. But so that's sort of my understanding of this phrase. But very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And Fiakra, can you do the vinyatang?
Sure. Great, yeah. Yang hi brahmana vinyatang vasato akusala dhamma abhivadanti kusala dhamma parihayanti evarupang vinyatang na basitabanti vadami yang cha kvasa brahmana vinyatang abasato kusala dhamma parihayanti akusala dhamma abhivadanti eva rupang vinyatang basitabang ti vadami. So that which brahmana, which is thought, which having been thought, when spoken, increases unwholesome states.
Well, there's no spoken though, right?
The basato.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, my mistake.
Sorry. That's.
I
Yeah.
didn't quite put it all together. Can you start one more time with your translation?
Okay. So that which, having been thought, when spoken, increases unwholesome states and decreases wholesome states, then evang rupang vinyatang, that manner of thought should not be spoken, I say.
Okay, good.
And then that, and that, but that to sorry, that to him, Brahman, the thought which is not being spoken causes unwholesome states to decrease causes
Wholesome states, kusala
wholesome
dhamma.
states to decrease and unwholesome states to increase. That manner of thought should be spoken, I say.
Okay, right. Or we could simply take yang chakvasa as furthermore, or on the other hand. We could
On the other
translate it.
hand, okay, yes. So it doesn't need to be. I was saying belonging to the guy speaking. It was kind of how
I don't really think it. I think it's a little more idiomatic. It could be translated
Idiomatic,
as the footnote tells us in our book, a little more naturally.
Furthermore,
Furthermore, when
furthermore,
when this, well, I'll leave it there because I get tangled up in this, but I think you understand what I mean.
Yes, I know. Yeah.
These things are easy to get tangled up in. But
Right.
are there any questions about the grammar here or the meaning in general from anyone?
No, just one point. You said to Diane that the second A in Abhivadanti was short. Is
Well,
that
yeah,
right?
unless I have a typo. I don't have it as long. Is it?
No, no. I'm just thinking because it comes before two consonants that it would be long or set.
Oh, a little more strong.
'Cause
I guess I was just pronouncing it a little more
that's-
neutrally, Abhivadanti, as opposed to
Oh, sure.
Abhivadanti.
Yeah.
It's a very small point. And I think we have a question from
Sure. Yeah. No,
Raylene.
no problem.
Was there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I translated this passage, the last one that that was being shared. Vinyatang where is it? Vinyatang basato.
Yeah.
I put it down as when one speak that which is cognized. Is that acceptable?
Yeah. In fact, I think that's what Bhikkhu Bodhi has.
Oh, okay.
It's
All right.
exactly what he has. I'm looking here. If when one speaks about what one has cognized,
Yeah.
yeah, cognized or thought, I think both of them are
Oh, all right.
essentially the same here. So an activity in the mind.
Okay. I'll take
Okay.
note. Thank you.
Good. Okay. All right. Then I think we can move on to Dhammapada. We have a few verses
Could
here.
I try the next one?
Sure. So please just read it first for us.
Sachang bane na kuchaya daja. Oh, this is difficult. Kujaya daja pasming pi yachito. Etehi tehi tanehi gache dewana santike.
Right.
Okay. I put down here as because one should speak the truth, because
What do you take banne as? What is banne? Explain that to us.
bane, I checked it out. It's from the word banati. It speaks or tells or preaches.
Yeah, but what verbal form? How do we refer to that?
Present reflective first person singular.
No, it's
no?
it's a form of the optative, I think.
Ooh.
One should speak, and it's not first person, it's third person, I
Third
think.
person, yes.
One should speak the truth. It's a sort of
Optative.
what's called sometimes short form of the optative. So it's a short form optative third person singular.
Singular.
One should speak the truth, or
truth.
one should speak truthfully.
Okay.
And then what is kujaya as a verb?
Kujaya, kujati is being angry, one who's angry. So it's optative also.
Yes.
So one should not be angry because
Yes.
there's the na there. So.
And then the next part?
And then daja pasmin is to give.
To give?
To give.
No.
That it's from datati dateyer, and daja means in locative. Oh, sorry. It's to give. Apar is small, little, so and connected to yachito. So give when asked of, even if little. That's how I did that, with the P being even. Is that okay?
Yeah. Can you explain daja for us a little bit more? What is that?
Daja is Daja plus apa. Yeah, Daja is dadati, dateya, dat plus a plus ya.
Right. That's right. So it's the, as I have here, it's the dati is the verb. There's an
Yes.
optative form, dadeya.
Dateya, yes.
But as we said a little while ago, or as we've spoken about in the past, the optative can also be formed with this ya, as well as, of course, the future passive participle. So we have this form, daja, should be given. And then this is in the locative.
Yes.
And why? What is that? Is this kind of a special version of the locative, isn't it? It's not our normal kind of locative.
I don't know how to explain.
It's actually explained in our book. Did you look?
Okay.
It's explained in grammatical section number 7. I can find it. And so on page 103, in grammatical section number 7, the locative case here signifies from, of, or out of. So we have our very word, daja pamasming. One should give little. One should give from the little one has.
Okay.
So appa means little, and the rest of it has this para. I mean, there's no para there, but the locative ending has the sense here in a special way of from or out of. So give me your translation of these first 2 lines.
One should speak truthfully. One should not be angry. Give when asked of, even if little.
Okay, good. And now go on.
Okay. Etehi is by these, or through these. Tehi is 3 reasons. Tanehi 3 condition or reasons, so or causes. One can go kache. In the vicinity is santike of the gods, devana. So by or through these 3 reasons or conditions, one can go in the vicinity of the gods.
Okay, good. So notice here that etehi tihi would be instrumental, the sense of with these. Tanehi, also tanehi, all instrumental. Gache is what in terms of a verb?
Gache is I go. It's
not I go.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
Third person.
Go. Go.
But what form of the verb I'm asking? It's similar to bun.
It's from gachet. From gachet.
It's from gachati, but what form of this? Is it present?
Present.
No, it's an optative.
Reflective.
It's also an optative.
It's the same as that. Yes.
It's the same as bane. One could go. One may go. One can go. Okay. Optative. In the presence of devas. So what case is devanang?
That's masculine genitive plural.
Yes, right, devanang. And that last ang is left out in the poem because of the meter, but it's implied. Right, okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, Branko, would you mind doing the next one for us? 2, 3, 1?
Yeah. Kaya pakopam rakheya, kayena sambutosya, kaya ducharitom hitva, kayena sucharitom chare. So kaya pakopam. Kaya is the body and pakopa is anger. So we should protect ourselves from bodily anger, or what is it, pakopa?
Yeah, or maybe irritation.
Irritation. Mm-hmm. So we should This rakeya is again optative.
Yes.
So one should protect oneself from irritation. And kayena, it's instrumental again, kaya. Samvuto. Samvuto is again restrained or guarded.
Mm-hmm.
And siya is again optative, would be.
That's
So,
right. It's atti, right?
Yeah. So one would be restrained in a body or by body, literally.
Yes.
And kaya ducharitam hitva. Kaya ducharita, it's charita is behavior, something acts, and ducharita is bad actions by body, by kaya. And hitva, hitva is again gerund, having renounced or
Yes.
having left behind or something like that. So so having abandoned bad acts done by body, kayena sucharitam chare. So the opposite, do what is good, do with your body what is good, or good actions, or
Okay. And what is charaya again?
Charaya is again optative, but charity is to behave or
Yes.
to act or
Yes.
something like that.
Practice, act, behave, as you say. So
Yeah.
charaya is
But charity is also to roam or walk around or something like that.
That's
Roaming?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so charity has various meanings. One is to
Yes,
literally
several
physically
meanings.
go around,
Yes.
but it also has this sense of behavior, how
Yes.
one acts, as you said. So
Yeah.
chare is a form, one of the choices, one of the possibilities of an optative for charity. One should practice, one should act sucharitam, good behavior, good conduct.
behavior by body.
Exactly. Very good.
Mm.
Okay, Lisa, can you take the next one? Vachi pakopang.
Sure. Vachi pakopang rakeya vachaya samvukdo siya vachi tucharitang hitva vachaya sucharitang chare. So one should protect from or guard from anger of speech.
Okay.
One should. Is there an alternative translation for this word?
Vachi pakopang. Well,
Yes.
maybe it could be something like vocal irritation. I don't know. But
Okay.
I think I'm looking at Norman's translation, and he has, I think, exactly what you said: anger in one's speech.
Okay. And then one should be restrained by speech.
And what is siya, just so we all know?
Yeah, siya is it's from ati, so it's a third person third person plural. Third person singular, and it means should be or would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then hitwa, having abandoned misconduct or verbal misconduct.
Yes.
One should practice right conduct with speech.
Okay, good. Thank you. Any questions on these so far? If not, then we continue. Okay. Let's have a volunteer for the next one. This is from the Mala section, number 246.
I'll try that.
Okay.
It gave me a lot of trouble.
Okay. Let me just point out one quick thing. It's probably obvious to everyone, but it's a mistake it's possible to make, that the word pana with the dot under the N, right, the retroflex nasal, is life, prana. But pana here in this compound, with then I guess that would be the dental nasal, is a very different word. It means a drink, right? So maybe there's even a little bit of wordplay here. I'm not sure, but we have to make sure not to mix them up, and we probably would not in context. Okay,
Are you
thank you.
sure about this, that it is a drink? Because I would say that it's killing life.
Sura Meria Panang?
No. I'm looking at yo panam
Yes,
panamatipe. Yeah,
that would be the life, right?
Okay. I thought
I'm
that
sorry,
you were talking
maybe
about
I
this.
mixed it up. Let me say it again. The first pana in our verse with the dot underneath is the life, prana.
Yeah.
The other one that looks kind of similar but different, pana down here, Sura Meria Pana, is drink.
Yes.
Okay, Diane.
Yo panamati pateti musavadam cha basati loke adinam adyati aparadaram cha gachati sura miraya panam cha yonaro anuyunjati ideva meso lokasming mulang kanati atano. So the subject is the naro in the third or fourth line. And that's where I'm going to start, because the man who engages anu yunjati, or who indulges in Sura Maraya Panamcha, the distilled or fermented drink, that man who engages in that and goes gachati paradaram to the wife of another, and adyati takes what is not given adinang in loke, in the world, and who basati speaks a false speech, musavadam, and kills beings, the panamati pateti.
Right, that's
And I go-
pana plus the verb would be atipatati, and I think this M would sort of work as to link the two words together.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And then in the last line, that man who did all of those things, breaking all of those precepts,
Mm-hmm.
id eva meso is formed with idha, which is here. So right here, he, eso, in this world, he digs himself up by his root. So digs kanati atano, himself, by the root mulang. So he digs himself up in this world by his root.
Let me just ask you quickly, what case is mulang?
Accusative.
Right, and what case is atano?
Genitive.
Right, so he digs his own root. He digs up his own root.
He digs up his own root right here in this world.
Right, in this very world. Exactly. So you had a question, though? It seems like you've got it very well.
Mostly I had a hard time trying to get the meter of it.
Oh, yes, that could be very challenging.
Because I like to read and I want the meter to be correct. It's hard to do. The next one is even worse.
Worse. So let me just read you the Norman translation of 246 and 247 for everybody. These, of course, should be taken together, right? Whoever, so that would be the yo, destroys a living creature and speaks untruth, takes what is not given in the world, and goes to another's wife, and whatever man applies himself, so here notice he's switched the order for our translation, to drinking liquor and intoxicants, that's Sura and Maraya, that person digs up his own root here in this very world. Okay. So that's a very interesting expression. He digs up his own root. I think in English we have an expression, he digs his own grave. Or we can say this is self-destructive behavior. So it's
I
interesting.
have a question here.
Yes, please.
Related to the first line, yo panamati pateti.
Yeah.
Because in translation you just read, he, the one who destroys life. But here it's causative. It's not atipatati, atipateti. It's to make somebody to kill or something.
Yeah. It could be maybe one who causes the destruction of life. One who causes the destruction of life, one who destroys. Yeah, I think it's a good point.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right, good. Now we move on to this. I admit the Nagavaga verses are a little challenging. And so a naga is an elephant, and there's this special word which doesn't seem to even have a translation, a matanga. Either it's a type of elephant, or maybe it's a specific elephant, a famous elephant. I'm not sure. Is there somebody who'd like to volunteer? Bonita? You have raised your hand to do it? Am I right? Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
It's 329 or 3. I thought
328.
Did we skip 328?
No, I'm asking for 328.
Oh, because you were talking about the elephant. I thought that was 329.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I'm taking these as a sort of a group, but we're
Okay,
starting
sorry.
with 328.
I'm a little confused. Sorry about that.
So
you
first,
want me
just
to
read 328 for us.
Okay. Sache labeta nipakam sahayang saddim charan sadhu viharidiram abibuya sabani parisayani kareya te nattamanu satima.
Okay.
So sache is a future passive participle clitic for if.
I wouldn't call it a future passive participle. I don't think so. I think it just means if. And it exists in this as a short clitic form, which would be che, which we see in the next verse.
Right.
And that form is when we have it in the middle of a sentence. But if we start a sentence, we see the full form used, sache, if.
If. Labeta is an optative, like find or get.
If one might find or one might
so it's
acquire or
form,
get. Yes.
Optative form, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nipakam is intelligent and Sahayang is a companion.
Mm-hmm.
And should I read the translation or should I?
Well, go on.
Sadim Charang is with. Sadim means with.
Yes.
Charam means like to wander or go about.
Yes. But this is a compound which has the sense of a constant companion.
Yeah, that's the, Sadhu means good. Vihari Dhiram is to dwell on something.
Well, vihari is to dwell.
Yeah.
What is dhira?
Dhira is, let me see what I got. No, I'm not sure of what that dhira is.
Okay. So notice here that there's this word which is the object of labeta, which is sahayam, which is a friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then we have these adjectives which are describing the qualities of this friend, of this person, right? And so if one should acquire or have a friend, and then the first adjective which is used is nipakang, as you said, that's an intelligent friend. And then this compound, which we can say is a bahubihi compound, or a compound which refers to something outside of the compound, namely sahayang. That's why we don't take sading charang literally, but we use it as an adjective to describe sahayang. So this friend is also a constant companion, right? He's always going along with you. And then we have this complicated compound, which is of 3 parts. And actually, I looked up K.R. Norman's footnote on this, which was very helpful. And he takes it as what's called a dvanda compound, which it has the sense of a compound of 2 parts, which are just together, but not really in a relationship between the 2. So that would be, for instance, pattachivara, a bowl and a robe. Just 2 things. So the first part of the compound he takes as sadhu vihari. So vihari would be from viharin, right? Dwelling, that would be adjective form. And sadhu, as you said, is good. So dwelling well. And dhirang has the sense of wise, a wise. So this friend is described in, I guess, 4 ways. He's nipakang, he's intelligent, he's sading charang, he's a constant companion, and he's sadhu vihari dhirang. So he's living well and wise. Is that clear now?
Yeah, because I translated it as if you acquire an intelligent companion, one who is wise and of noble behavior. Is that?
I don't really. Oh, noble behavior, sadhu vihari. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on then.
Yeah. Abhibuya sabani parisani is that you will overcome problems that you have.
Well, what is abhibuya?
That's to overcome.
But what is it grammatically? How do we understand that word?
That's an optative.
It's an optative of what? Abhibhavati. So having, it's not an optative, I'm sorry, it's an absolutive.
Sorry.
Having overcome.
Yeah.
Having overcome. So it doesn't have a person. Right? Having overcome sabani parisayani, which is what? All dangers.
All the problems or whatever.
All dangers, all problems. And then charaya, this is that other form of the optative of charity. We had charay just a moment ago. One should wander. Tain attamo. So attamana is the sense of pleased. We see this very often at the end of suttas where the monks are pleased with the teaching, the attamana. So here, taina is there, pleased. So one should wander there, pleased, and also satima. So this is satimant, related to the word sati. It's a nominative adjective. Mindful.
Mindful.
So would you like to read out your full English translation for us?
Yeah. That was a little challenging anyways. If you acquire an intelligent companion, one who is wise and of noble behavior, you should overcome all problems and travel with him delighted and mindful. That's how I...
Well, you've left out sading charang, I think, as an adjective. And I'm not sure if you've translated abhiboya correctly. So if one should acquire a good friend, a friend who's nipakang, wise, intelligent, sadi charang, another adjective meaning a constant companion, or I see Norman has a co-wanderer, sadhu viharing dhirang, he has a good liver and wise. And then we have Abhiboya Sabani Pari Sayani. All having overcome all dangers, right? Having overcome all dangers. Charaya tenatamano satima. He has one should wander with him happy and mindful.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Lisa, would you like to try 329?
Yeah.
It's the kind of similar but different.
Noche lapeta lipakang sahayang sading charang sadhu vihari derang raja varatang vichitang pahaya eko chare matanga aranye vanago matanga. Oh, sorry, that's it. So for che, I have if one would not acquire an intelligent friend, a constant companion, a wise dweller, like a king having abandoned a conquered kingdom. So having abandoned is a gerund form of pahaya.
Yes. Well, it's not the form of pahaya, it's the form of pajahati, I think.
Oh, pajahati, okay.
And the gerund absolutive, as you said, is pahaya.
And then conquered kingdom is vichitang ratang. And then next, one should wander alone from Echo, like an elephant in the Matanga elephant's forest.
Say that last line again.
One should wander alone like an elephant in the Matanga. And then I have Matanga - elephant forest.
Right. It's confusing. But I think the Matanga is not the forest. The Matanga is another word for an elephant. So Norman has, like a king leaving a conquered kingdom, one should wander alone, like a Matanga Naga elephant in the forest. So Matanga and Naga are going together as a thing. And they are aranye, locative, in the forest. And Echo, as you say, is alone, and Chare is wander, should wander, can wander, should wander, really. And I was curious, or not, I was interested how you translated this complicated compound, Sadhu Vihari Dirang. Tell me yours again.
I have wise dweller.
Yes, that's how I took it too. So you're taking it not as a Devanda compound, but
Devanda, yes, yeah.
But that would be not a Devanda. That would be a Tapurisa compound, because it's sort of adjectival, as opposed to just two distinct words that are put together. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah, I see now. Yeah.
But that could be right too, and that's how I took it first. A wise Sadud Vihari as an adjective to, or I took Dirang as an adjective to Sadhu Vihari, a wise dweller. But for reasons that I don't fully grasp, K.R. Norman takes it as a different kind of compound with just two separate, distinct attributes, Sadhu Vihari and Dirang. So I guess either could be possible. But we have to just understand why the choice has been made. Okay. Is there anyone else who'd like to read their translations of these or have a question about it?
Hi, Stephen.
Hi.
I am wondering if I can take Bahaya as an optative instead of an absolutive.
An optative of Pajahati? Is that even a normal form? I would have to look it up. How would you translate it then?
I translate it as a king who has conquered a country would abandon, or perhaps like as a king would abandon a country conquered.
I would have to look up and see if Bahaya is a form of the optative. I don't know offhand. Did you look it up?
Thank you.
Or Diane, you
I'm
raised your
not
hand.
sure.
Did you have something to say about this? We can look it up, I guess.
About that.
Let me look it up. I'm sorry I don't know offhand. So Pajahati, here's the entry. Well, gerund, Pahaya, having abandoned. And so notice here in the entry, they're giving well, this would be the future passive participle. They're not really giving us, as I don't see the optative forms. I'm not sure. I have to say I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I would, Pahaya is, I think, a pretty common optative form. I'm sorry, a pretty common absolutive form, having abandoned. So I have to say I'm not. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, optative for Pajahati is Pajaheya.
Yeah,
It's not Papaya.
it's not Pahaya. So I have to. I think I have to say that we really should take it as the gerund or the slash absolutive, having abandoned, not the optative. Okay.
Thank you.
Unless you could find me an instance where this is definitely and clearly an optative, I think it's not. Okay. All right. Diane, you had a question?
Yes. It's just, do you know of a book or an article or someplace where I can read about the various meters of these gathas? Because some have 8 syllables, some have 11 and 12 syllables. And is there a way to approach reading them?
Well, in the Duracell grammar book, which is freely available, there is a section on meter, which is pretty useful. And I think A.K. Warder has a whole book on Pali meter, which is very hard to understand. But I would start by looking at the Duracell grammar book section about, on meter. That would be a good place to start.
Thank you.
There is also a website on what is this ancientbuddhisttexts.net.
Okay.
An outline of the meters in the Pali Canon by Ananda Jyoti Bhikkhu.
Yes, that's right. Thank you for reminding me. That's a good resource too. Venerable Ananda Jyoti has it on his website, ancientbuddhisttexts.com. And Sarah has a question?
Yes, just a quick thing, because it seems like the English translations of the Dhammapada stray from the actual grammar. I wondered if you could read the K.R. Norman of this, because he tends to be more literal.
Well,
right,
I did.
Oh,
I
did
have
you
been,
read this one
but
already?
I can, maybe I
Well,
didn't.
if you could read again the absolutive, that line of having abandoned.
329.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's interesting that he's taking Nipakang as zealous, which is, and he has a footnote about it. We'll set that aside for now. But here's his translation of 329. If one does not find a zealous companion, a co-wanderer, a good liver, comma, wise, like a king leaving a conquered kingdom, one should wander alone like a Matanga Naga elephant in the forest. So he has it leaving, which it would definitely be the absolutive taken in the sort of present tense. Does that help you, Sarah?
Yes, thank you very much. And I just thought because there is a kind of, general gerundive sense and optative, etc. But the absolutive really is more, it's a different tone. So, because sometimes I think I can't give an example. It seems like in the translations they stray off of the actual verb tense. So I
see.
wondered if that was the case in some of the translations, if it had been would abandon, giving it more of a gerundive sense. So that was just my question. And
Okay.
thank you for reading that.
I think the sense of it is when the king's kingdom is overrun, he bails out. He just goes away, right? He leaves it for something else.
He's not thinking about it. He did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, then maybe we can go on if there are any other things. Now we can move on to the further readings. So we're back in Anguttara Nikaya, Book of Sevens, Mahayanyavago. So this would be the section on the Great Sacrifice. The second Agi Sutta. Agi is fire, of course. It is the Pali version of Agni, which is the first word of the Rig Veda. So it's a very important word in ancient India. So, Catherine, can you start reading and translating for us?
Tayo me brahmana agi pahataba parivajetaba na sevitaba katame tayo ragagi dosagi mohagi kasma chayang brahmana ragagi pahatabo parivajetabo na sevitabo.
Okay.
The Tayome is 3 and pronoun masculine nominative plural these. Then Agi is the masculine noun nominative singular. Fire.
Is it singular? Because we have 3.
3, okay, plural.
Yeah.
Sorry. Pahataba, this is the future passive participle adjective of pajahati, to be abandoned. Parivajetaba, also adjective, future passive participle of parivajeti,
Yes.
to be avoided. The sevitaba, future passive participle of parivajeti. I repeated this one. Oh, sorry. Sevitaba is practice, to be practiced.
Yes. Right. Or cultivated or practiced. Literally, I guess it would have the sense of serve, but as you say, practice is better.
Practice or taken up. Taken up also can, all right? So,
Yeah.
O Brahmin, there are these 3 fires that should be abandoned, should be avoided, and should not be practiced.
Okay.
Katame tayo, this is what 3? What are the 3? Ragagi is the fire of passion or the fire of greed. Dosagi is the fire of hatred. Mohagi is the fire of ignorance. So what are the 3? And fire of ignorance. Kasma, Chayang, Brahmana, Ragagi, Pahatabo. Pahatabo, as I say, is to be abandoned. So, O Brahmin, from what? Chayang, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what is the meaning.
Well, the parts of Chayang is cha plus ayang. So cha is and and ayang is this. And so kasma chayang we can translate maybe as something like, and why is this?
Oh, why? Okay. Oh, Brahmin, why is this fire of passion to be abandoned and avoided and not to be practiced?
Yes, good.
Thank you.
Fiakra, can you continue?
Sorry, just finding my mute button there. So yes, okay. So rato ko brahmana ragana abhibuto pariyadinachito kayena ducharitang charati vachaya ducharitang charati manasa ducharitang charati.
Okay, ragena. So we would put the heavy syllable at the beginning, ragena, and
Okay.
the manasa, heavy syllable at the end.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. So the the one who has craving, or the lustful one,
Yes.
Brahman. So the is overcome by lust, and then he has the mind, having the mind blinded and overcome. But it's that's, and then he does bad behavior with his body, does bad behavior with his voice, does bad behavior with his mind.
Right. So this rato is based on raga, sorry, as you say. So the lustful one. And then he's described as ragena abhibuto. So abhibuto is this past participle, has the quality of overcome with raga, instrumental. He's described as parayadina chitto. He has a mind that has been overcome. And then kayena ducharitang charati. He does a bad doing, literally, with the body, or he... and vachaya by speech, and manasa with the mind. So these, of course, are the three ways we can perform an action. Can you continue a little bit?
Okay. So kayena ducharitang charitva vachaya ducharitang charitva manasa ducharitang charitva kayasa beta parang marana apayang dugating vinipatang nirayang upajati.
Yes, unfortunately. So tell us what this is.
Okay, so this one, okay, so and then we've got with the body, so that's kayena.
Well, give it to us in sort of the translation order, not necessarily word by word. So he,
Okay. So he, having done badly with his body.
Right, that would be the absolutive.
Yeah.
Charitva, right?
Yeah. And then having done badly with his voice, having done badly with his mind. So then the next bit, so kayasa beta, so that's the destruction of the body, parang, so after this, the destruction of the body, which is the death.
Yeah, kayasa beta, typically translated as the breakup of the body, and then parang marana, after death.
After death.
And then we could go to the verb, upapajati.
Upapajati, that's he is reborn. Okay. And then apayang dugating.
Well, these are four things, right? So what's apaya?
So
How would you translate it?
So I was translating it as calamity. Was that right?
Well, it's a place. Yeah, it's kind of a location. So
the place,
apaya, often translated as a place of misery.
place of misery. So I think all of these are kind of that they seem to me to be synonyms. Dugating.
Maybe. Well, they're in the same family at least.
Sure, yeah. So the dugating is the one that I translated as misery.
But that literally you can see from the word with gutta has the sense of going, and dur is the bad, right? So dugatting would be something like a bad destination.
Bad destination, yes. Okay,
dur gutta.
Mm-hmm.
And then vinipata, translated often as the lower world.
Lower worlds. Okay, so
and then unfortunately niraya we often translate it as hell.
As hell, yeah.
So these might be not necessarily strictly adjectives. They could be sort of increasing in terribleness.
Okay, so they get worse as they go. Okay.
It would maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not entirely clear to me, but they're all bad. They have a family resemblance. Whether they're equivalent, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
And so just read the next sentence quickly.
Okay, then it's tasmayang ragagi pahatabo. Oh, sorry, yes, pahatabo parivajitabo na sevitabo. So the therefore so the ragagi, so this is the fire of craving, is to be given up or abandoned. It is to be shunned, and it is not to be taken up.
Yes, right. Yeah, shunned. Okay, fine. I actually looked up this word because I couldn't think of the etymology, parivajeta, and so I learned that vajati is actually very similar in root to vrit, which is to turn, but this is vrij, which I guess has the sense of to twist, and so it seems like one would turn away, twist around, squeeze, kind of wiggle out of, or so avoid, as you say.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, good. The rest is very similar. Maybe we'll do just a little bit more, just to practice pronunciation. Branko, would you like to do the next bit for us? Read it.
Yes. Kasma Charayam Brahmana dosagi pahatabo parivajitabo na sevitabo. So, and why Brahmin, fire of hatred, should be avoided, should be, what's the second? Would be given up.
First one is pahatabo should be abandoned.
Yeah, should be given up. Or I have pahataba, I have gives up.
Okay, yes.
Okay. And then to be avoided and not to be practiced.
Yes.
Duto ko brahmana dosena abhibutto paryadina chitto kayena ducharitam charati vachaya ducharitam charati manasa ducharitam charati. So duto, so the one who is full of hatred, O Brahmin, by hatred, who is abhibuto, overwhelmed by hatred, and paryadina chitto, whose mind is whole, also overwhelmed by hatred. He kayena ducharitam charati, he misbehaves by body, misbehaves by words, and misbehave by mind. So kayena ducharitam charitva, vachaya ducharitam charitva, manasa ducharitam charitva, kaya sabeda, paramarana apayam, dugatim vinipatam nirayam upajati. So having done all this by body, words, and mind, kaya sabeda. Yeah, here I have a question. Kaya sabeda paramarana. So you translated, and I see Bhikkhu Bodhi also translated param with marana, but these are both ablatives, kayasa, beda, and marana, right?
I would take beda and marana as ablatives, yes.
Yeah. So why param is not? To me, first thought was kayasa, beda, param. Somehow it goes together. So after dissolution of the body and after death.
Why is it that way? Yeah, it's a good question. It's a very strange piece of grammar. I know this is mentioned in that book about the Pali syntax of Pali cases, which I won't look now. Certainly, kayasa beda would be from the breakup of the body. And then the next one, parang marana. The question is, why is marana ablative, right? From death after. That would be literally from death after. Why is that? I mean, there seems to be what's being mentioned here are these sort of two pieces of dying: break up the body or after death. But I'm not entirely sure of the strange cases of parang marana. It's a good question. And maybe I'll look it up in our book and I can send an email because I know it explains it there.
Yeah. Okay.
And notice, by the way, that the verb is actually slightly different. It's not upajati, it's upapajati, which actually has the same meaning, I think. But anyway, it's a fine point.
So so after doing all this misbehavior, he's reborn in apayam. Apayam is hell, or however we translate it, like state of loss or something.
Yeah.
And dugatim is also difficult existence or something, realm of miserable existence in the PTS dictionary. And vinipatam is place of suffering.
Yes.
And niraya is also another name for one of the hells.
Yes.
Upapajati, he is reborn there. And then tasmayam dosagi pahatabo parivejatabo na sevitabo. Therefore, or because of this death, all these this fire of hatred should be given up, should be avoided, and not should be practiced.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good. And finally, we can do quickly, maybe Sarah, can you read and quickly translate the last fire?
Sure. Kasma chayang brahmana, mohagi pahatabo parivajetabo nasavitabo. Mulhoko brahmana, mohena. Am I reading the right thing? Yeah.
Yes.
Abhibuto paryadinachito kayena ducharitang chariti. Vachaya ducharitang chariti. Manasa ducharitang chariti. So kayena ducharitang charitva. Vachaya ducharitang charitva. Manasa ducharitang charitva. Kayasa beda paramarana. Apayang dugatang vinipatang nirayang upapajati. Tasmayang mohagi pahatabo parivajatabo nasevitabo. Imekotayo brahmana agi pahataba parivajataba nasevitaba. Okay, so he says, and why, O Brahmins, is this fire of hatred?
Well, it's not hatred, right? It's moha.
Oh, ignorance.
Yeah.
I'm reading the wrong translation. And why, O Brahmins, is the fire of delusion to be abandoned, to be avoided, and not to be engaged in? That's how I translated Savati. Indeed, Brahmins, a deluded one, with the mind overwhelmed by delusion, practices bad conduct. I'm going to shorten it by saying bad conduct with body, speech, and mind.
Yes.
Having practiced bad conduct with body, speech, and mind, at the breakup of the body after death, he is reborn in a state of woe, in an unhappy existence, in great suffering, in a hell. I decided to make it indefinite article.
Okay.
Just expressing a hell. Therefore, this fire of delusion is to be abandoned and avoided and not to be engaged in. Indeed, these three fires, so we go into a plural here, O Brahmins, are to be abandoned, avoided, and not to be engaged in. So the
Very
only
nice.
difference is our plural ending on the future passive participles.
Yes. Very nice. Thank you. Great. So maybe we'll leave, we're almost out of time, this reading from Milinda Panha till next time. And I have to say the final one I find sort of annoying and kind of weird, and I'm not sure if I even want to do it. That would be the third reading. Maybe next time we'll do it very lightly, but I'd rather really move on to Dhammapada verses. And I'll just say one thing about compounds in Milinda Panha, the first reading. That would be our second one in the book, second reading. We have this compound Chedana Lakkhana. So this is in a sense, it has the characteristic of cutting off, but it's referring as an adjective to panya, wisdom. And so we can say that this is a bahubihi compound because it's referring to something external to the compound, namely panya, or another way of saying that is that it's an adjective to panya. So I would translate that as cutting off is a distinguishing mark of wisdom. So we would not translate it as something like the mark of cutting off is wisdom. You see that? So there could be some confusion how to translate this phrase if one doesn't understand the role of the compound as a bahubihi compound. So that is a small point, but it's a very crucial point, and this is why we begin to examine compounds in this analytical way, not just because it's fun, because we understand the meaning of them, especially when we translate them. And then it was pointed out by Diane, eagle-eyed Diane, that I had here vutang as a past participle of vadati, but in fact maybe it should be vatti, but the meaning is the sense of sing. So I think that's it, unless we have any final questions about things we've covered today. We will hopefully come back next week. We will complete this lesson 7 further readings. We'll go very quickly over the second Milinda Panha. We'll do these 2 short elephant Vagga Dhammapada readings, and then we will begin on lesson 8. Okay. So if there are no further questions, I thank you all very much for your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you,
you,
Stephen.
Stephen.
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you.
have a great week.
Bye.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
Okay.